And I just said to myself, well, maybe this is the story that should be told. This is the story that wants to be told. Sometimes I think that even though this is my first documentary, I do think that sometimes there is a story that wants to be told, and to me that is exactly what happened, and and I'm grateful for that.
Have you ever thought, what if this is all just a dream? Have you ever thought?
Hello, my name is Alicia Redmond. I'm a writer, director, producer, actor. I am located in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am proud to be an ArtsWave Black and Brown Artist Grant recipient. The name of my project is Rooted in Love, the Recultivation of Lincoln Heights, a Historic Black Community. And it's a short documentary about the city of Lincoln Heights here in Ohio. Lincoln Heights was the first African-American incorporated city above the Mason-Dixon line here in Ohio. And so it has a beautiful, rich history, but also a tragic one. And so the film documents a little bit about that history, but then it goes into the Heights movement and a man named Durrance Daniels, whose great grandfather was one of the founding families of Lincoln Heights. So a friend of mine was telling me about Lincoln Heights. I am a transplant here, so I by way of Atlanta, and as he was telling me about what happened to this town, I was just fascinated. It was affected by redlining, which is, just a rooted in racism, a practice that really kind of tore the land apart. That they were given at first, but then was taken from them. And so, the film is also about rebuilding that community. That's the main thing of it too. So, but that's how I found an interest in doing this project. I was just fascinated with what happened to the city. I don't think that I have ever lived close to a city that something like this had happened to. And I was just taken with the story, and I was like, why aren't we hearing about this more? So Stephen Easley, who is a partner with the Heights Movement, which is the organization that Durrance Daniels is a co-founder of. So he is the one who introduced me to Durrance, and he told me about the Heights Movement. So the Heights Movement is an organization that is, I believe, founded to bring the Lincoln Heights, I don't want to say back to its former glory, but what it could be today. The vision that they have for the city today, because it is in it needs help. It needs assistance. It has not recovered from the redlining that took place. And so Durrance Daniels is a fifth generation resident of Lincoln Heights. And personally, I have never met a fifth generation resident of any place. And so even that blew my mind. Like, your family has lived here in this place for 5 generations. And so, or even kind of surrounding, because he grew up in Woodlawn, which is like just one street over. So technically, and then he moved back into the Lincoln Heights area. And so that's where Durrance's involvement came in. And again, just being astounded that that a family has lived in one place for 5 generations since the founding of it. That was pretty amazing to me. He became the focus of the story when my plan to tell the story just went totally south. Everyone that I had, that I wanted to interview to simply share the story of Lincoln Heights just kind of canceled on me. And and all of the Heights movement people were available. And I just said to myself, well, maybe this is the story that should be told. This is the story that wants to be told. You know, sometimes I think even though this is my first documentary, I do think that sometimes there is a story that wants to be told. And to me, that is exactly what happened. And and I'm grateful for that because I think the movement and what they're doing in the community is so important. The cause of what they're trying to do is so important. So really, I was honored to share not just the story of the Heights movement, but Durance's story, just a little bit of his story. And again, it's only a 20-minute documentary, and there's so much to tell. Um, but that's I'm looking for ways to even kind of share, a little bit more of that story. So I think it deserves to be told. So this being my first documentary, I'm kind of learning like what pathway should I take with this? I do think that, festivals would be a great way to, share the story and get the film out there. But also I'd like to somehow get it broadcast maybe on like a PBS or just a station that is local since it's such a great local story. Um, but of course I wouldn't limit it to that either because I think it's a story like a Rosewood, like a Tulsa that deserves national attention because they are still here. They're still here. So I think, that's important too. So I'm open. I'm open to the avenues of sharing it. So it's not available yet to see, but I hope that viewers would walk away with the knowledge of this history, especially Ohioans, Cincinnatians, with the knowledge of this piece of history again that is still here in their city. Um, on a broader scale, just to bring attention to this story and think about, you know, what can I do, or even if it's a corporation, what can a corporation do? What can a city do to help cities like this? I know that Lincoln Heights isn't the only city that is still here that was affected by redlining, uh, but here in Cincinnati, what can be done? You know, I think that's the idea that I'd like for people to walk away with. Stepping up to the challenge, stepping up to the plate of how can I help? How can I help this city that was torn apart like this, and now has no uh, they have no tax base. They have no, businesses were cut off from them. How can we get it thriving again instead of uh, letting it, watching the decline of it, and allowing that to happen, and then perhaps either erasing what was there or just letting it continue to decline. What can we do to help? That would be my hope that people would walk away with. The Heights movement is really fostering the idea of let's reclaim this ourselves. Let's rebuild ourselves. Let's do what we can to make this what it once was and better. And I admire that. I admire that so much. And they are doing fantastic work there. They have classes for financial literacy. They have entrepreneurial classes for kids, teens, and adults. They offer so much, um, but yet and still, there's nothing wrong with others coming along, to join this. I When I think of it, I see like in just an upward growth, which is, part of what the Heights movement, one of their um, one of their projects that they have is called the Jackson Street Farm. And that's kind of where we meet Durant's, the our hero here, on the farm that he started, that the Heights movement started. And when I think of them, I really do think of something, sprouting upward and growing. And yes, they're doing it, and they're doing it themselves, and they're creating, as Stephen said in the documentary, they're creating this playbook, to help other cities like them, for the community to take it into their own hands. But again, I just think it would be awesome if, you're taking it into your own hands, but let people come along, alongside you, and hold your hands and help rebuild, So the theme for this year's ArtsWave showcase was truth and innovation, and which is, you know, very important to me. I feel like if you don't address the truth of an issue, if you don't get to the root of it, to the truth of it, then you cannot help. You can't find the real solutions that are needed. And out of those solutions should be innovation. When you can address the truth of something, then I believe the innovation, happens through brainstorming, through community, through coming together, with ideas, which is something that the Heights movement does. But yeah, I think it was such a powerful theme this year that I really wanted to submit this story, because I thought, well, Lincoln Heights, in the beginning, but even from the beginning, I sought out, uh, what's the future of this? Where is this going? And so I'm glad, to find the Heights movement, to have found the Heights movement, in the process, because they are trying to become the solution, to it. So my truth that I express through Rooted in Love, I believe is rooted in justice, actually. I like to see justice. I like to see, not necessarily uh, punishment, but the right side of justice winning. Um, if something is wronged, how can we make it right? And so that's part of my truth. That's part of who I am. Uh, and so yeah, I think that's a big part of me. And I was again happy to share this story. I feel like I feel like even with Durant's and the organization, I feel like this is a part of history happening. Like I feel like it's history in the making. And to be a part of that is amazing. It's an amazing thought. If you can remember one thing from this conversation, I would say that there is strength in unity, there is strength in community, there's strength in partnership, even if it's just one other person who agrees with what you're doing and wants to help you. There is strength in that. And I would say be open to it. You're no man is an island unto himself. Uh, there's power in that. So that's what I would leave you with.